Hey guys, welcome back to Low Luxury. Today we are going to be talking about gifts. Gifts for the holidays, that's right. And I know from experience that it can be crazy hard for significant others to find holiday gifts for their fashion conscious partners. What do you get for somebody who is used to paying hundreds of dollars for like Gucci sweaters? Like, you don't have that kind of budget and you don't want to disappoint them. So I am here to help you out with the best pieces of drip that won't break the bank. Nothing here is going to cost more than $200. So we're going to break it down for you by category, and throughout we'll also give you some little tips and tricks if you don't like these specifics, but you like the kind of direction we're heading in, if you catch my drift. But before we get going, I've looked into it and a very tiny percentage of you are actually subscribed to the channel. So it doesn't cost you anything. If you like the content I make, just click that subscribe button and I thank you profusely. We're gonna start off with shoes. You know, I ain't wearing no shoes right now. I could use a pair myself if any of you viewers are watching this and wanna help a boy out. So first I will say that Converse are a perfect brand for this because they're kind of cheap and crappy, but therefore it means they're also cheap on your wallet. But just because they're cheap doesn't mean that there's nothing to be had. So first off, they recently did a collaboration with Braindead that will have your man screaming moo, because that is the sexiest sound a man can make, I know. So they've got a couple different colorways and styles of these. I believe they're still in stock some places, and if not, you can get them on StockX for cheap, and it's a really great option. Another really recent release are these ambush ones, and they came up with two styles of these. I would say the safest one to get are the duck boots in either black or blue, but they also have these fuzzy boys here in black and blue again. But you would have to be really confident that you know that person's style really well, because you would need to know in your heart that they would be cool looking like a Cookie Monster. But Converse ain't the only game in town. There are other brands out there as well. So let's talk about the big boys, Nike, the sweatshop kings. I would say one of the best options here for really cheap are the Air Fear of God moccasins, Mocs. Now these are reselling on StockX and other places for way below retail, so it's even cheaper than if you'd bought them new, which is really rare for these collaborations. And if you're not familiar, Fear of God is a really respected, kind of refined streetwear hypebeast brand, and they've got these really expensive Air Fear of God shoes, but they've also got these moccasins, which for whatever reason they just weren't as hot as these other shoes, so their loss is your gain and you can get them for cheap. Now, if your significant other is a hypebeast, it almost goes without saying that they are a fan of Yeezy, Kanye West brand that he does with Adidas. And he's got a silhouette with them called the Quantum, like QNTM, and those again are going quite a bit below retail. So you can get a pair of the Bariums, that's a certain colorway, for quite cheap, so look into those. And finally, let's talk about the little guys. And when I say little guys, I mean not little at all, because they're a huge brand. I am talking about New Balance. One of the absolute most popular shoes of the entire year were the 327s. You can find all sorts of different colorways of the 327s in stock all over the internet, and any of those would be a really good choice. But might I suggest you look into the collaboration they did with Levi's, which again are going for under retail. And if you're not happy with any of these specific choices, I suggest going to StockX.com, where you can either filter so that it doesn't go above a certain price. You know, if you're saying, I don't want to spend more than $100, $200, you can set that in there and just scroll through at your leisure. Or they even have a tab where you can filter by shoes that are below retail, so selling even lower than they initially sold, which is quite rare for these kind of hyped sneakers. Now, you could potentially go to secondhand markets like Grailed, eBay, Depop, places like that, and find these things for even cheaper. And you can absolutely do that, like there's no problem with that. But I will say that if you do that, you do run a significant risk of getting fakes. And there is nothing that will ruin a Christmas faster than fake streetwear. Trust me, just Google the Great Box Logo Massacre of 2015. Now let's talk about clothes. You know, the things that you put on, they sometimes have sleeves, sometimes they don't have sleeves, sometimes you put them over your legs and over your junk, so there's tops and there's bottoms and there's all sorts of clothes. I don't have to explain what clothes are to you, let's move on. Now, there are brands out there that hypebeasts and luxury lads really like that at the same time won't break the bank. So let's talk once again about Brain Dead. Their pieces are all very reasonably priced, and they're a bit avant-garde, and their style is kind of weird, psychedelic at times, but still streetwear. So anything from these, especially like their collaboration with the North Face, would do very, very well as gifts. If your partner is into stuff that's a bit darker, might I suggest going with a brand like Pleasures. They have a very kind of like goth metal aesthetic, but again, it is all at very reasonable prices, and they have sales going at various times, so you're bound to find something good. For some pure streetwear at very, very low prices, you could check out Chinatown Market as well. And then there's the absolute most popular streetwear brand, Supreme. Now, people love to talk about how it's so hard to get Supreme stuff, about how they sell out instantly and it's so hard and it resells for so much, but you can go to their web shop even days or weeks after their most recent drop, and you're still likely to find things in stock. It may not be the most popular pieces, the most hype pieces, but Supreme is still Supreme, and your partner will probably be happy to have it. But those are pretty much all streetwear brands. Maybe your partner is a little bit more refined, if I may say so. Maybe they like a little button down. Maybe they like to twirl their mustache a little bit. So I have options for them too, because there are brands that, while usually quite a bit more expensive, they do have outlet shops and sales that go constantly. So you've got options there as well. So let's talk about them. First off, definitely check out the brand The Kooples and their outlet shop. And that name, it always reminds me of turtles. I've been racking my brain trying to figure out, is there a turtle called a Koopel in some video game or cartoon property that I watched as a child? But I don't know, that doesn't matter at all. I don't know why I'm talking about it. Check out the Kooples. They make some really fun, kind of quirky professional wear that I really like. Even more refined than that is Theory, and they also have an outlet that's on sale a lot, and they sell obviously just really, really classic kind of high quality professional wear like button down shirts, trousers, blazers, things like that. And then there's Vince, who do like minimalist, really clean fashion so well, and I would definitely suggest you look into them if that is more their style. And finally, kind of bridging the two gaps between the streetwear, hypebeast kind of stuff and the professional, more kind of higher tier stuff, there is the Coach outlet. So they have all sorts of pieces, both from clothing and apparel to accessories on crazy sale. And if you check it out, you're quite likely to find something that they will like as well there. Now let's talk about accessories, because for some reason people love to get boys accessories for Christmas, and I don't know why. Obviously socks are kind of the classic joke. I don't know why it's such a joke. I love getting socks for Christmas. New socks feel so good. Half my socks have holes. I always need new socks. Take that into account. Anybody who's getting me gifts, thank you very much. But in the age of COVID, one of the perhaps best accessories you could get for somebody is a new face mask. So let's talk about that. Obviously, tons of brands are out there making face masks right now. You can just Google them and probably find tons, but if you want a couple suggestions, here you go. So D Squared is a brand that generally I'm not a huge fan of. I don't love their aesthetic, but they do make some really cool, really striking masks. So there's this icon mask that I'm really into, and that would be a great choice. If you think they'd be more into kind of a wrap than a mask because they don't like the thing tugging on their little ears and it makes them uncomfortable, then I would suggest looking into Alexander Wang, where he has a very affordable but very cool wrap option as a face mask. Another great accessory for both men and women is the beanie. And if you're looking for a good beanie at a fair price that doesn't cost like hundreds of dollars, like a Gucci beanie or something, take a look at maybe brands like Stone Island, who have a great little logo badge that looks great on a beanie, as do Moncler. Now, another classic gift for men is the wallet, and that is because men are so absent-minded that if they didn't have a little piece of bifold leather holding all their cash in, it would just go flying out of their pockets down the street, causing riots everywhere, and therefore wallets are very, very important to the world at large. One of my favorite brands that do wallets is Off-White, because they often have these kind of little cheeky sayings on them. I find them really funny and cute, and they're not like crazy expensive in the grand scheme of luxury stuff, especially for a brand as massive and as popular as Off-White. Another great option here is Alexander McQueen, who is a brand that's usually really expensive, but for whatever reason, their kind of wallets and card holders and things like that are quite reasonable. Now, even more popular perhaps than wallets as a gift, let's go with belts. And for this one, I would again suggest going with Off-White. They've got this crazy industrial like logo tape belt, and that is perfect for any hypebeast out there. And please keep in mind, I'm using hypebeast like kind of ironically, like that word sucks, but it's also, there's nothing really better to call them, so we're just going with it. So I'm sorry to embarrass any of the hypebeasts out there who don't like being called hypebeasts, but you're still a hypebeast. And as far as belts go, if you're looking for something a little bit more refined, but still with that kind of pop of a logo and a little bit of hype in there, maybe go with an option like this one from Comme des Garçons, one of my favorite brands. Also, going back to the shoes, speaking of Converse, you could always get them the CDG Converse, but those are a bit played out at this point, even though I still love them dearly, but this belt is a great middle ground. Finally, let's talk about scarves. Obviously, the holidays, you think of snow, you think of the cold. Maybe a scarf is in order just to keep their neck warm. You know, you lose 90% of your heat through your neck. I don't think that's true, but I'm gonna just go with it. So for scarves, oh, once again, look at that, it's Off-White. And why is there so much Off-White in here? Because they have 5,000 trillion products out there, they just flood the market with stuff, but also because it's good, and also because it's often really reasonably priced compared to other brands in that kind of stratosphere, if you will. And in a similar direction, you could also go with a brand like Palm Angels, who have another very ostentatious offering in that scarf space. Now, I know that when it comes to accessories, a very popular option is a watch, but I am not going to talk about watches in this video because I would just embarrass myself. Like, I don't own nearly enough yachts yet to be able to speak confidently on that subject. So that covers just about everything we've got, but I do have a couple more little tips and tricks for you. First of all, there are fashion sites out there that are specifically great for getting stuff on sale and that act more as like outlets. So first of all, there's Yoox, that's Y-O-O-X, and they have some of the best sales out there because a lot of their stuff is from a couple seasons or more ago, so it's way discounted compared to most of the other online luxury boutiques. So you can just browse Yoox, browse their sale section, and you're bound to find some great stuff there. And I saved the best for last because here is the best little tip I'm gonna let you on the best little tip and trick out there. Listen, you gotta listen to me. This is something that other people don't know about. This is just between you and me, so you gotta listen close, you hear me? So first off, I want you to go to list.com. They're not sponsoring me, I'm not making any money here, I'm just giving you my super secret tip here that I love so much and I use all the time. So list, that's LYST.com. Go to the men's section and there's a little tab that'll drop down. You go over on that tab and on the far right there is a sales section. You click on that, you can choose clothing, accessories, shoes, whatever you want. And once you click on that, there's gonna be a little drop down menu on the left and there's one that's like sales. You click on that and you can filter by 20% or more off, 50% or more, or 70% off more. I suggest clicking 70% off or more and it will show every fashion shop on the internet that have things from whatever you search, whatever you're looking for, that much on sale. This is how you will find the absolute be all and all best deals on the internet for anything you need. So if you're confident enough to really dive in and browse for yourself to find some gifts, I highly suggest doing that. So that is everything I have to tell you about getting gifts for the fashion lover in your life these holidays. Take a look at the other video on screen here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time.